the comments down below. What do you think about paying to use the bathroom? Are you?
You don't need to. If you go into a restaurant or you order something to drink or you get something to eat, you can use the bathroom of that restaurant for free. So it's only the public restaurant or the public bathrooms that you have to pay for. But if you go to a restaurant or in your hotel, of course, no problem. But if you leave your hotel and you go somewhere to a nice restaurant and have a dinner, you can use the bathroom there. Hello and welcome back. My name is Johan and I'm a typical Dutchman, and I react to all kinds of videos that are related to the US and Europe, or the US and the Netherlands, or Europe in general, or the life in the United States. And if you want to learn together with me what those differences are and maybe help me to close these differences, let's take a look together and you learn from my reaction to the video. And today I'm going to take a look at, together with you, about 20 cultural differences between Europe and America. And I want to know what those differences are. I know there are many more, but I want to know which one of these are. And this is from Drew Brinsky. So let's start with a subscribe and a like. And then let's see what those differences are and if I agree with him or not.
I've traveled to every single country in Europe and spent more than 2.5 years living on the continent.
This city is just magical. Gives me the goosebumps.
But as an American, I got to admit, things are a little bit different here than back home.
Oh, a little bit? Yeah, okay, let's see.
It costs $3 to use this bathroom. Of course, there are many similarities. Both the United States and Europe are leaders in innovation. They share a love for sports and produce the world's most famous movies, music, and fashion trends. Both have world-class universities, high standards of living, and share a commitment to human rights. But in this video, I want to share with you 20 cultural differences that I find between the US and the majority of Europe, all based on my own personal travel experiences. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with my thoughts.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Bitteschön.
We're here in Salzburg, Austria.
Austria. Dining etiquettes. Yeah, okay.
At a beautiful cafe here, right on the water. But the problem is, we can't order because they don't come to your table, even if you flag them down. Dude, can you flag him down? He's here.
Yeah, it's maybe too busy. When the terrace is full, then yeah.
Oh, Diana got him. Good job. You're so shy.
He totally ignored me too.
Is it awkward? This is actually the home of Mozart. He was born just around the corner from here. I wonder if he had to wait this long to get a table.
Yeah, but he typically looks like an American. Again, the baseball bat, the baseball hat, yeah.
How are you?
Busy, yeah.
Yeah, see, it was very busy. Usually they will come to your table, but a sunny day at a busy outside terrace, yeah, that's, yeah.
And after please.
I'll have the same ham and cheese toast and then oh, sorry.
2 toast, 2 cappuccino.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And pate, thank you. It's awkward. In the US, the waiters and waitresses go over the top to make sure your experience is like top. Yeah, because they get tips. And they'll check on you every 5 minutes, like, oh, we just want to make sure everything's okay. But here in Europe, like, they don't give a about you. They basically come by, they're like, hey, what do you want?
Kind of like that.
Yeah, I kind of like it too.
Yeah, because they don't need the tips. That's more or less the difference between the United States and Europe. We don't need the tips. We do not expect that you tip our waiters because they get a decent pay for their job that they're doing. So they are not relying on the tips. And the businesses do not rely on the tips of their customers to pay their waiters. So, yeah. They are friendly, but they don't go out of the way to do anything just to please you. No, they do their job. They make sure that you have your drinks or your food, and that's it.
In the US, they step over your toes too much sometimes, and then you feel awkward. You're like, okay, go away. Food is finally here, and man, Can't beat a cappuccino in Europe. Dudo has pate, but he won't eat it. Meal was great. Now we're just trying to pay.
Same problem. You have to wait, and then you can pay.
It's always an interesting experience. I told the guy we could pay. He goes, yes, yes, yes. Be back, be back. Just like walking back and forth, back and forth. Excuse me. How do you say excuse me in German?
Entschuldigung.
We've been trying to pay for like 15 minutes, but
Oh my god. Just
yeah, they just.
wait to raise his hand.
I raised my hand like 5 times. I might have to rely on you to do that for me. Thank you. Hi. We just have pay, please. Yeah.
Entschuldigung, möchte gerne zahlen. Ja, Entschuldigung, möchte gerne zahlen. Yeah, that will do. Ooh, will be hard because I'm now switching between Dutch, English, and German.
So I just got this rental car in Germany, and you have no idea how much of a pain in the ass it was to get an automatic car.
Yeah, okay, an automatic car.
Almost all the cars in Europe are manual, which I know I'm gonna get made fun of in this video because most Americans don't know how to drive stick shift, but at least they have them, that's for sure. When you think about driving in America, Americans love their big trucks and SUVs, and we also drive on the right side of the road, where in Europe, it's mostly on the right side, but some countries like Ireland and the UK, is on the left side.
When you drive over into the Great Britain area, it's on the left side. On the continent, always drive on the right side.
Driving on the Autobahn here where there's no speed limit and the cars are flying by, like just... And they drive right on your tail, and if you don't pull over, they'll just like right behind you. Pretty intimidating. I'm going...
Yeah, you have to stay right, so you keep the left lane open for those people that think that the gas pedal is only down to the metal as in going, what will it be, 100, 100 miles, 110 miles, no problem.
130, that car must be going 200.
Also, when you're driving in Europe, you have to look out for all the little signs and the little bumps everywhere. It's quite different than back home. So you just gotta really pay attention. And of course, the signs aren't all in English, which makes sense because these countries don't speak English as a first language. So you just gotta pay extra close attention to what's going on the street in front of you.
Yeah, and we use picture signs as in not text on the signs. It's also, most of them are pictures, just because there are many languages in Europe, so it has no use to say, I saw a speed hump. Yeah, okay, just set a picture of a bump in a road and everybody knows what it means.
See that sign on the right? What does it say?
Zoutjopkirche. Yeah, that's a Oh, Bra and Rockaba. This is Denmark or somewhere in that region. Yeah.
You have metros, trams, buses, a lot of pedestrians, people on bicycles. There's a lot more going on when you're driving in cities in Europe. And also, the roads can be really, really, really narrow, like where you have to fold your mirror in just to get through a little alleyway. It's really, really stressful sometimes if you're not used to it. And you have to have really good judgment on the boundaries of your car.
This is hilarious. Careful on the right side.
Yeah. Okay.
Italy and Spain are famous for those small alleys to drive into. Yeah, be careful.
I gotta plug this in.
How was the drive?
The cobblestone streets are this big and the car is this big.
All right, it's time for a little gasoline experience in Europe. Check this out. So first, you pull in like usual. But the tricky thing is that most rental cars, let's say, I don't know about most cars, but rental cars take diesel, not regular gasoline. You can't...
Yeah, okay. Most rental cars, that's his experience, take diesel. Yeah, most will. Yeah.
it up, otherwise the car's not gonna drive. So I gotta go diesel. Choose the right one, so diesel. You put it in.
You don't need to go in and to the pump station, to the hole and say, I need $50 or €50 gas on that pump. You just pump, then go in and pay.
If you've noticed, I haven't paid anything yet. I have not paid a cent.
He's saying it now.
I'm just coming here and putting gas straight into the car. It works on the trust system here. You fill up the tank and then you go inside and pay. So technically I could just drive off without paying. There's a lot of cameras here, so I'll definitely get caught and I'll definitely get a bill in the mail or something, but...
You not only get a bill in the mail, you get picked up, and your gas price will go up by 150 euro bonus if you leave without paying on a gas station. So you need to pay the gas plus 150.
If you're in a pinch and you're in a rush and you have to get gas and you have to dip out, you could technically do it for free and not pay the bill. But that wouldn't be a good thing to do. Next thing you'll notice is the prices. It's pretty expensive. I'm only filling up a half tank right now of this car. It was exactly half. About $60 for a half a tank. That's expensive.
Yeah, that's compared to the United States, it really is expensive. I'm sure.
And now I go inside and pay. Hello, number 9. Thank you. Bye-bye. To be honest, it is a pretty efficient system once you get the hang of it. Americans work longer hours and get fewer vacation days than Europeans, almost across the board. In the US, the average worker gets about 2 weeks of paid vacation per year, while here in Europe, employees often enjoy up to
Wait.
Get fewer vacation days than Europeans, almost across the board. In the US, the average worker gets about 2 weeks of paid vacation.
If they have the right benefits, if I'm correct. If I'm not correct, then correct me in the comments. And while you're down there, like and subscribe to the video too. Because as far as I know, and I've seen other videos, that's only if you have the right benefits, then you get 2 weeks vacation. That paid is not even guaranteed. While in Europe,
per year. While here in Europe, employees often enjoy up to 6 weeks. Europeans like to call these breaks holidays, whereas we call them vacation. The two words essentially mean the same thing, but in Europe, they take their leisure time very seriously. If you just visit any park in any European city, you'll see people out frolicking around, having a picnic, going on a bike ride, or simply just laying there and spending the whole day outside. In America, we have this culture of being really busy and overworked and feeling like it's a good thing, like we strive for that, we want that. Where in Europe, it seems to be the opposite. Yes, you can make the argument that this is why so many innovations come from the US, because we are go-getters, which is awesome. But you could also make the argument that Europeans do enjoy their lives more. Many Americans see long hours as a sign of productivity and success. They often brag about their packed schedules and time spent at the office. Europeans, on the other hand, value downtime and believe taking time off to recharge is essential for well-being and productivity. Clearly the party's over there.
Yeah, that's mostly when we work more efficiently during the office hours. We are more rested, more energetic, so we make more production, and so we can go off. And I always say, and a lot of people say this in Europe, we live, we work to live. While in America, I get the impression that it's always you live to work. To get stuff, you need to work. So yeah, that doesn't work in Europe. It's you get paid to enjoy life, and then you need to work because otherwise you don't get paid.
There. Even in some European countries like Spain, businesses will shut down for a few hours in the afternoon for a long break.
Siesta.
In the US, this would be unheard of, where lunch is nothing more than a quick meal at your desk.
Yeah, but that's only in the really hot countries, and that is where it came from, because it's too hot to stay outside. You're talking about 30 or 40 degrees Celsius outside. So people get inside, take a nap until the hottest part of the day is over, and then continue with their activities.
Week also differs significantly. In France and Germany, the standard work week is about 35 hours, with strict limits on overtime. In the US, the typical work week is 40 hours, with many people working much more. America's private healthcare system is crazy expensive, whereas in most of Europe, they offer universal healthcare funded by taxes. Americans will often go to the emergency room for urgent care, while Europeans see general practitioners regularly and have easy access to local clinics.
I did a separate video about this healthcare, so look it up on my channel.
In the US, having a medical emergency can bankrupt you. In Europe, you're covered. Americans deal with high insurance premiums, copays, and out-of-pocket expenses. Many Americans will actually avoid seeing doctors because of the high costs. Europeans simply do not face these barriers. Regular checkups, specialist visits, and surgeries are generally free or at a really low cost. The focus in Europe is on preventative care and early treatment. The US system emphasizes treatment after problems arise, often leading to higher costs or worse outcomes. Another huge difference in healthcare is the cost of prescription drugs. In the US, they are so expensive, whereas in Europe and most of the world, they're way more affordable.
Because we in Europe, and especially the European Union, have agreed with each other how much certain medicines, certain drugs cost. While, as I understand it, in the United States, the drug company determines how much a drug costs. Even if it's a $5 production cost, he can still ask $500 for it if he wants to. That's not the way that works over here.
All my American friends out there might find this one to be really shocking. You actually have to pay money to use the bathroom in Europe. And the
Public bathrooms. I hope he didn't say this, but for public bathrooms, yeah, you need to pay for public bathrooms so that they are cleaned. You pay for the for being sanitized and clean.
experience is not all that enjoyable.
These urinals are pretty close together. It would not fly in the US. No space to pee.
Oh my God, it's unusual to say the best. You gotta stand up to go to the bathroom.
My first time coming to this continent, I could not believe my eyes when they were out.
Yeah, where he was sitting, it's in the hotter countries, Spain, Italy. It's usual that you sit in a different way in the bathroom. Yeah.
Asking me to pay, usually around $1, but in Paris, I actually had to pay $4 to use
What?
the bathroom one time. And you could argue on one hand, it's nice to have clean facilities when you want to use the bathroom. I mean, nobody wants to pee in filth and dirt. But I mean, come on, paying for a bathroom, this is something that I just don't agree with. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think about paying to use the bathroom? Are you?
You don't need to. If you go into a restaurant or you order something to drink or you get something to eat, you can use the bathroom of that restaurant for free. So it's only the public restaurant or the public bathrooms that you have to pay for. But if you go to a restaurant or in your hotel, of course, no problem. But if you leave your hotel and you go somewhere to a nice restaurant and have a dinner, you can use the bathroom there.
Are you for it to have clean facilities, or are you against it? You just want to do your business and move on for the day. Just want to take a quick break and thank the sponsor of this video, Airalo. If you're a traveler like me, then you know the importance of needing a working phone so you can stay connected to
You can skip the part, but I'm gonna follow it. Yes.
the world and stay safe. Airalo is a convenient eSIM technology provider that allows you to have data in 200 countries and regions. Being trusted by more than 10 million travelers worldwide, Airalo is the world's first eSIM store that gives you access to digital SIM cards. I've been personally using it for years and it's been super helpful to stay connected. It takes just a few minutes to set up and activate, and boom, no more worrying about roaming costs or getting local SIM cards. By using Airalo, I can easily call Ubers, find restaurants, post on social media, or text my friends. And the best part is that you get to keep your original phone number. If you click that QR code or click on the link down below and use the code DREW3, then you'll get $3 off your next eSIM purchase. All right, now let's get back to the Europe versus US story.
This is a 4570.
Damn.
Gun ownership is widespread and accepted in the US, protected by the Second Amendment. Many Americans view gun ownership as a fundamental right and a part of their cultural heritage.
Did you grow up around guns like with your father? So
Yeah, he was the one who taught me how to handle firearms and go shooting. Everyone here grew up with them, so they understand the dangers of them, the safety, you know, what you need to be prepared with them. It's a different way of life, I would say.
In other words, guns are a mean of personal protection and a symbol of freedom. And people believe that having a gun is essential for defending themselves and their families. As a result, the US has the highest rate of civilian gun ownership in the world, with 121 guns per 100 citizens.
Wow. Now we're talking about the Netherlands. We have 2.3 bicycle pro citizen, but 100. Wow.
However, this widespread access to firearms comes with significant consequences. For the last 5 consecutive years, there have been more than 600 mass shootings, which is defined as when
600 in 5 years.
4 or more people are killed.
We are learning new details about a mass shooting.
The suspect fled, setting off a police chase before crashing into a ditch.
This statistic is really alarming, and it just shares the downside of having guns in the US. It's honestly terrible, and
It's a downside, but it's also the reason why people want to protect themselves with guns. So it's the chicken or the egg. If you don't have a gun, then somebody else has a gun and can shoot you. But if you, it's the chicken of the egg.
my least favorite thing, if I had to pick one about United States society, all the killings with guns. It's just so sad. I'm numb to the news, and I don't even know what to say when I hear about another shooting. It's just really, really, really terrible. In contrast, Europe has strict gun control laws and much lower ownership rates. In fact, most European countries require extended background checks, mandatory training, and valid reasons for owning a firearm, such as
Yes, it's not impossible to get a gun if you want a gun, if you need a gun, but you have to do, like you said, much things to go through before you get a gun. I had a rifle when I had a rifle license I had a rifle license when I was part of a shooting club. So that's when I had and need a rifle license and with the full checkup. But nowadays I don't have because I don't need it anymore.
hunting or sport shooting, not just a casual, everyday gun owner. These strict regulations
Yeah, sport shooting, that is what I did.
make it difficult for the average European to own a gun or to get a gun, which as a result makes gun violence extremely rare in Europe. And I gotta be honest, it's much safer here than in the US. Both the USA and Europe are home to a wide variety of religion.
They're just beautiful.
However, in the USA, religion is expressed more openly, with a lot of believers attending regular services. Do you guys hear that? The call to prayer. I just got goosebumps. I can't believe I'm in America right now. The US is predominantly Christian, and churches play a central role in community life, often hosting social gatherings and charity drives. Public expressions of faith are common, such as prayers at sporting events and religious symbols in schools. You'll also see that in big cities, they organize religious festivals and parades. In contrast, Europe is more secular, with a lot less religious people. Like right here in the Czech Republic, it's actually the most atheist country in the world. Over 60% of Czechs don't believe in religion. 60. This secular mindset is also clear in the politics of many European countries. Governments tend to maintain a clear separation between church and state, ensuring that religious beliefs do not influence policy. Also, in many European nations, religious education in public schools is minimal or just non-existent.
Non-existent, only if you want to. You can choose a public school what gives or belongs to the religion that you have. Most of the time, the most dominant, quote, religion schools are there.
As we approach the lovely Charles Bridge, let's get our facts straight on this one. The USA is definitely a car country. The majority of Americans rely on their personal vehicles for daily commutes, whether it's to work, to a restaurant, or just to the store. We also have a crazy highway system, which makes a car kind of a necessity. This reliance on cars results in a high cost for gasoline, waiting in line.
Yeah, gasoline prices.
This reliance on cars results in a high cost for gasoline.
Gallons, 10 gallons, $36. I do not know how much a gallon is. 3 or 4 liters, I believe. So 30 liters for 36. Yeah, that's cheap.
Waiting in lines, parking, all these other things that come along with having a car for Americans. Oh, and don't get me started on traffic. It's the worst. Go to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Dallas, New York, Chicago. Traffic is the worst. Europe, on the other hand, has extensive public transportation networks all over the place. Trams, buses, metros, rollerblades, electric scooters.
We just rented these scooters and we are flying through Rome. This is pretty awesome. Driving through the Roman Forum. Woo!
It's almost like public transportation starts and ends in Europe. It's so immaculate, so clean, so reliable, so safe, and so easy everywhere on this continent.
Cruising around Copenhagen. Yeah. With Grandma and Grandpa on a bike.
Woo! Having fun.
You think it's different than America? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't ride your bikes and your cars on the same street.
As the sun starts to rise here in Prague, I'm just getting goosebumps just looking at this view. Look at this. Does not get any better than this. Absolutely crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, public transport is all over Europe. It's better to go, if you come and visit Europe, you can rent a car, of course, but I will advise you to stick with public transportation.
So as I was saying, European cities like Prague are literally designed with public transportation in mind. It's also super easy in Europe to take a high-speed rail train to any city. Again, I have to side with the Europeans on this one.
I am outside Dresden train station and heading to Prague, and I'm going to show you how easy and convenient it is.
From Dresden, Prague. Oh, that's not that far. Nah, that's not far.
To take a train in Europe. Let's go. When you walk in the train stations, they feel more like airport terminals. Everything in here that you could possibly want or need. Food, clothes, bakeries. And they're nice. Like, you want to be inside these places. Look at it, huge. Look at this. All the train stations here have a lovely dome. Although getting a ticket is sometimes a challenge. You just gotta...
Yeah, getting a ticket, get them online if you can. And otherwise ask somebody to help you if you really have trouble with the ticket system, because that could be a bit tricky.
Figure out where to go. We're gonna go to English, then we're gonna go to from Dresden to PR Prague. Haha. It's just so easy to take a train here. Platform 13, you go here, you wait for the train, and that's it. You show up 5 minutes before. What's cool about taking trains in Europe is that it's encouraged and everyone does it. It's just easy and simple, and you can go long distances, short distances. Europe's really got it down, and I wish the US would have a train system. Yeah, we have an Amtrak, but I've never taken it. I don't really know anyone who takes it. I wish there was a train that connected Phoenix to LA, LA to Vegas, San Francisco to Seattle, way more conveniently. I know on the East Coast, you guys have some stuff like that, but it would be really nice to have that in the US because taking trains in Europe is awesome. The cities are built for public transportation, which makes it easy to use. I'm just so happy I can do this right now in Europe. If you're an American and you haven't been to Europe, you'll notice right away that the public transportation is incredible and will blow your mind and fun and easy to use. And she's arriving right now. And just like that, I have arrived back in Prague, my favorite city in Europe. Easiest experience ever, highly recommended. Europe wins when it comes to public transportation, period. Next topic.
Education.
Getting a higher education in the US is really expensive, and it often leads to significant student debt.
Yeah, I want to know what the costs are. We'll do a separate video about that. We're just going to know what the difference is between all those
all my friends, when we graduated college, we were all poor and we had to work for like a decade just to pay off our student debt. That's the reality for many Americans.
A decade?
Who get college degrees. Believe it or not, tuition fees can be tens of thousands of dollars a semester, and it's absolutely crazy. That being said, we do have really, really great teachers, campuses, facilities, and colleges in the US overall are pretty amazing. On the other hand, Europe offers free or very low-cost education, including universities.
Basically, in the most of European Union countries, it's for free. The only condition is that you know the language of the country.
European education emphasizes multicultural awareness and global perspectives, with many students learning multiple languages. And that's another really cool thing about Europe is people speak many languages because the proximity to countries are so close. On the other hand, Americans live a little bit more inside their own bubbles, focusing more on national news versus international news.
And I live in a tri-area, tri-country area. It's called Eurasia, with next to me about 10 kilometers, not even, 5 kilometers beside my house, I'm in Germany. And about 20 kilometers the other way, I am in Belgium. And about 75 down, that's even not that far to Belgium. Yeah, that's, it's 20 down. It's also Belgium, but then the Wallish, and then another 10, then I'm in Luxembourg. So 4 languages is by default that that the Dutch guys speak.
If I had to do it all over again, I probably would have gone to a university in the US because the experience was so amazing. I made so many friends. I learned how to live on my own. I went to University of Wisconsin, which is such a great sports school. It's a party school. I was in a fraternity. Like, all these things were amazing and it made me who I am today. But of course, I can't be a little bit jealous when all my European friends come out of school debt-free. Food for thought.
Nah, debt-free is not, no. Some really have debts, but not that they have to pay off for the next 10 years or so.
Piggybacking off the last topic, Europeans really do speak many languages. In fact, I have European friends that can speak 8 to 10 languages.
This beer is very good. Das Bier ist ausgezeichnet. To pivo je výborný. Je to pivo очень вкусné. To pivo je veľmi dobré.
It's so mind-blowing to me because in the US, most people predominantly speak English. Feeling patriotic.
Let's go get some food.
All right.
You might have some people that learn Spanish or French if they continue to learn so in school.
Yeah, because the Spanish, for the people who are living in the regions, I guess like Texas and so, that they have because of the Mexicans, they speak Spanish.
If they continue to try to pursue it after school, that's up to them. But if you walk into any grocery store across America and you ask someone what language do they speak, I would guarantee you that they just say English.
Yeah.
It is true that in the US, English dominates in education, media, and daily communication. What's it like to live out here in the countryside of Wyoming?
Oh, it's great until wintertime.
Whereas in Europe, on the other hand, it's a multilingual wonderland with multiple official languages.
Dobrodošli u Zagreb.
The country of Switzerland, for example, has 4 national languages. Most kids in Europe grow up learning 2 or 3 languages from an early age, and they can achieve fluency by adulthood.
Yeah, we have English in, I call it primary school, until K-12 or something it's called in America. So in primary school, by default, the kids are taught English.
Contrast, Americans might struggle with just 1 foreign language, usually taught in high school with limited success. This kind of linguistic diversity in Europe is really enriching, both if you live here as a European or if you're just traveling here as an outsider. It makes it so fun and exciting, and as I've always said throughout my travels, diversity is what makes the world go round. Smoking is more common and more socially acceptable in Europe, period. Hands down. Growing up in the US, we have the DARE program, which I went through, where we are taught in 5th grade that drugs are bad and that we can't smoke and it's gonna kill us. Yeah, looking back, it may have been a little bit extreme, those classes, but they really drilled into your head how bad smoking is for your health. And it's true. In my opinion, all around Europe, smoking is more of like a fashion trend. It's like a cool thing to do, and it's almost like if you're...
Yeah, it's a cool thing to do, and yeah. Usually it starts with the younger ones, say, 14, 15, 16, who's looking for their identity and want to do something special or want to look cool, and then they start smoking and yeah, continue it. We try. The cigarettes are really expensive these days, so yeah.
you're sitting with a group of friends and they offer you a cigarette, you almost have to say yes as like a cultural thing. I don't know how else to explain it. Other countries in Asia and Africa and the Middle East are similar in that regard. But I just find it really interesting how people here just smoke and they smoke and they smoke and they smell like smoke all day. At some point, it just becomes a lifestyle. In almost all indoor places in the US, aside from maybe casinos, smoking is now banned and prohibited and you cannot do it inside. Whereas
I do not know how it is in all of Europe, but I know in the Netherlands and I also know in Germany and in Belgium, it's not allowed in any public area, inside any public area, restaurant, etc., to smoke.
In Europe, even here in Prague, there are many bars and restaurants that you can actually just light up a cigarette inside. It's really
Not inside, on the outside, in special areas on the outside. Because we are looking forward that you don't bother other people with your smoke. That's the reason of it.
Interesting. Here in Europe, you can also find cigarette vending machines. How wild is that? In the US, you can find anti-smoking ads, and just to be honest, smoking is just scrutinized across the board. However, when it comes to vaping, the US might have Europe beat. I'm gonna open up this chapter on an emotional beat because I'm standing right in front of Namisi Miru Church, where I lived and studied abroad in 2012, right down that street. This place has always been a home for me, and if it wasn't for Prague and this exact spot, then I wouldn't be here doing what I do today. A lot of my love for Europe stems from the beautiful history and the old streets. Look at these cobblestones that I'm walking on.
Keep walking and look up to the right.
Oh, wow.
As an American, it is so cool and special that Europe is so old, and there's all these beautiful churches, historical monuments, buildings like this with gargoyles on top. Like, we don't have anything that looks remotely similar to this in the US. And
we don't tear them down. We fix them up. They are protected buildings, so yeah.
Everything in the US is new. It's just so charming to walk around and experience and see these beautiful buildings on every single corner.
Yeah, I think that's part of America, and correct me in the comments, but if a building is old and abandoned, tear it down, bring something new.
Freaking awesome.
I love the detail. It's just amazing.
Some cities are more beautiful than others, like Prague, Paris, Madrid, Budapest, Bucharest, Romania.
Yeah, that's also the oldest one.
I find these places to be some of the most beautiful. Spectacular views. The architecture in Prague is outstanding everywhere.
Former East European countries, yeah.
The goosebumps. Man, just walking around Europe is like a freaking museum. We're in the Colosseum. Is it cool? Every corner, everywhere you go. These buildings are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. In the US, we do have some old cities like New York, Boston on the East Coast, which are a few hundred years old, but we ain't got nothing on European cities. Castles, cathedrals, and ancient ruins are preserved and integrated into modern life, with governments designating money to maintain these sites. This is the Temple of Juno, which is a Greek temple that was made in the 5th century BC. It's just absolutely incredible. Can you find anything like this in America?
Not even close. I don't think anywhere in the world you can find something like this. It's incredible.
In big American cities, you see a lot of skyscrapers and new things. But in Europe, skyscrapers are almost looked down upon. You want to keep things traditional. You don't want buildings to go above that height. All in all, when it comes to history and beautiful buildings, Europe 1, USA 0.
It's such a different world
He's keeping score.
than ours, but I love both.
The USA thrives on big food portions and unhealthy nutrition.
That's a huge size, Grandma.
You ordered too much popcorn. Look, we have 3 bags.
I thought they were small.
If you ever go to eat food in the US, you'll find a massive plate with a lot of calories on it. And it's kind of gross. I just think about IHOP or any like American diner, and you sit down and you order something, and it's just a lot going on. And to be honest, it's reflected in the people's health. A lot of America is overweight. Go outside of any big city in the country, and you will see people that are very, very large, which is unfortunate and sad. Europe, on the other hand, is clean and petite and nice. And when you eat, you just get a smaller portion of the food. This food is absolutely delicious, fresh.
So good, my love.
A lot of times the vegetables and ingredients are much fresher and healthier and directly from the source. Not everywhere, of course, I'm generalizing a little bit, but I find this to be the case for most places compared to the US. And when you think about all this, it kind of makes sense because the fast food culture of the US caters to American lifestyles. We're always on the go. We always have like a quick second just to eat and get out of there. We don't have leisurely time to hang out and
Yeah, that's the main difference, of course. The fast food restaurants, you have to work. And when you're tired of working and want to go home, you don't have that much time or don't want to spend that much time on cooking dinner. And so you go fast food. And in Europe, we stop working around, let's say, 5 or 6 o'clock. So you have the entire evening to do this.
Relax. Whereas here in Europe, everything is just relaxation time. You want to go to the cafe and chill with your friends. You want to go to the restaurant and hang out.
When the weather is nice in Europe, everyone, and I mean everyone, is outside enjoying their lunch, coffee, Aperol Spritz. We just sat down amongst many Germans here in the center of Clevelandburg. Everyone just enjoying the outdoors behind me.
And therefore, you do get finer and healthier quality, period. This is a topic that I'm actually really passionate about because as I get older, I'm trying to eat healthier. But when I go to the US, it's hard to eat healthy. It's just difficult. But here in Europe, everywhere you go, there's like little cafes on the corner that are selling salads and non-fried and non-greasy foods. And it just makes it a lot easier to take care of your health. Europeans recycle more and they focus more on sustainability. As you can see, where you throw away your trash, there's like different bins for different things. And you'll see people actually following the rules and putting all the boxes here, all the bottles in here, and here for the trash. Just imagine how much cleaner the world would be if everybody followed Europeans' lead on this. In fact, many European countries lead in renewable energy and eco-friendly policies, making these practices just a part of daily life. It's normal for them to do these things. They don't have to go out.
Yeah, we recycle at home already.
Out of their way because it's built into the culture.
This city is so clean, even though there's so many tourists here, because there's amazing ladies that are just cleaning the city all day long.
Most European countries have strict rules on single-use plastics, promote reusable items, and have good public transportation that reduces car pollution.
Getting on the tram here, a beautiful old historic tram of Prague, gives it all the charm in the world.
Green spaces in cities encourage outdoor activities and help improve air quality. In the US, let's just say that we don't care so much about recycling, and it's really a shame. This might be changing in recent generations, but even myself, growing up, we only recycled like big things, like a cardboard box or a big carton of milk. We didn't actually like collect everything separately and put it in different trash cans. We would just throw a water bottle in the same trash can that we would throw food waste. In the US, I see a lot of people littering and not taking care of the streets. And for such a big country with 350 million people, you can imagine the massive impact that it has on the world. I will say that some places in the US do put recycling forward, but overall as a society, as a nation, I think we are light years behind Europe. And this might not be a problem for us in today's world, but for our kids' generation, it's detrimental.
Recycle, please. We do care about Earth.
Yeah, it's I was thinking about it. If cities would get more money funded by the government, and the government would spend less money on military and stuff, give more money to the cities, so the cities can hire more people who are unemployed to go for low budget to make the city clean, keep the city clean, then you have something in this working environment that giving money, give people a job, and they can spend their money, and that's the economy is a boost for the economy in that city. But that's my 2 cents.
Many Americans dress really casually, like myself. Baseball cap, regular shirt or athletic shirts. I'm wearing yoga shorts right now. A lot of Americans love to rep their universities or their sporting teams. And that's just how we are. You know, hoodies, regular shoes, socks, shorts. Europeans, on the other hand, are really fancy. And when they dress up to go to dinners and to go out.
Oh yeah, to go. We usually, like me, I have a t-shirt and that's, yeah, I've got a pants on, but I don't wear shirts if it's not necessary. Yeah.
And just to like, whenever they leave their house, even if they go to the grocery store, they just present themselves nicer and they have fancier haircuts and they're more elegant looking. And
yeah, the ladies, not all men do this.
Personally, I feel a little bit like an outsider in some situations when.
Yeah, you are, because you're wearing a cap. It's showing out. I am American because you wear a baseball cap.
If I go sit outside on a cafe and everyone's looking nice and I'm just there, like clearly there's an American dude that shows up, but this is usually how I can pick out Americans from the crowd in any city in the world. It's like how they dress. Everything's so posh and fancy here. I feel like I stand out wearing my Be Spontaneous shirt. We stumbled upon a wedding and I don't think we fit in very well. Everyone's dressed super nicely. This is also reflected in the workplace, in the work environment, where in the US, a lot of companies are more casual with like jeans and just a regular shirt, whereas in Europe, they take fashion more seriously and people have to dress up, look nice.
Not always. I was a teacher and I had jeans and a shirt, and that's usually enough. It's not to be a three-part suit when you're teaching. No. Keep connection with your kids, and the kids are also dressed up casually. So.
And hey, there's nothing wrong with looking nice, you know. There might be many Americans watching this out there that really like looking nice, and that's awesome. But I'm just saying, overall as a society, Europeans care a lot more about their looks. Random side note, this tower, called Žižkov Tower in Prague, is a really awkward looking building, and you can see there's black babies going up and down the side of it right there. Really, really weird and funky. Let's look in this circle, for example. All the houses are really nice and neat. Most of them are just apartments. The buildings are right next to each other. Everything's kind of laid out perfectly nicely. There's plazas, people are reading in the park, sitting in their little chairs. It almost feels like a fake life, like you would see in
He's a lot in Eastern Europe. There's all scenes from Eastern Europe, from Prague. So
a movie, like a giant movie set. That's how it feels here in most of Europe. Wow, that is...
Wow, so cool.
And it's nice. It's nice to hang out, walk around, and sit down. It's freaking beautiful.
Walkable cities. Millions of videos about walkable cities.
A lot of the buildings are really old. They've been here for many years, and that's just how they are. This is the lovely Prague Castle, the oldest castle in the entire world. First time in Milan, chilling by the famous Duomo. This really epic looking old structure. A dream come true trip right here. A lot of times the buildings will have these cool like statues and gargoyles and sculptures like inside of it just because of the history of Europe is really old and cool. And I think that's pretty awesome. One thing that I really don't like about the situation in Europe is that they don't have AC almost anywhere in Prague in summer right now.
Yeah, that's because we have old buildings and they are protected buildings, protected view. And it's not good to have AC outside because it damages the view of the building. So yeah, you don't see that. But you can open a window if you have it warm.
And suffering because they just say like, oh, it's only 6 weeks of the year, it's hot, but like it's freaking burning in there. And yes, I sound like a spoiled American right now talking, but it's miserable.
Yeah, it's something it is. Although I've been in several countries in Europe lately, and the more hotels and pensions I came into have AC in the rooms.
Wow, it's so clean here. Almost everywhere you go in the US, aside from some of the big cities on the East Coast, everything's new. The buildings are new, which means they can be fancier, which means they can have better circulation, air conditioning, insulation, all these things. In the US, we love our patios and our decks outside, and we just like to have a room for things. I literally cannot believe how big these houses are. Whereas in Europe, you don't really get that. You might get a little balcony that you can sit outside. Other than that, you're
depending where you live and how much you want to pay. But I can tell you, for the prices I did see lately, that for the price of a house in the US, you get a villa in regions like Italy and Spain and yeah, all those Eastern countries for the same money that you have an apartment in some of the cities in New York.
Really just confined to
cities of America.
A smaller space in your flat, which is what they call apartments here. They call them flats. We also have huge appliances like dishwashers and washing machines that are really big and nice to use. Also dryers. You cannot find those all over Europe. A lot of times they hang their clothes to dry.
Yeah, we do.
Many American homes also have big kitchens.
That means that there's wind and the clothes dry faster and have a nice smell, and because the wind is wiggling it, they are soft, etc.
Taller ceilings, things like that.
Whereas in Europe, things are a little bit more tighter and condensed because everyone tends to live like in the city center, especially if there's apartments and stuff. You just have less space in general. Like America's everything's big. Like Texas, things are bigger in Texas.
Big cards in Texas. They definitely party big in Texas.
Whereas here in Europe, everything's kind of petite.
That's all the water we get. Like just a tiny little.
Yeah. In America, it's always like this big, like my face big.
But if I had to pick one, Europe all the way. Look how nice this is. I can't get over this spot. Fantastic. For some weird reason,
measurements, yeah.
America uses the imperial system, which means measuring distance in miles, weight in pounds, and volume in gallons. It's so...
I want to do a video about that too, because I want to know how to recalculate this metric system into the imperial system.
Funny to me because most of the world has no idea what any of this is. Here in Europe and almost everywhere else in the world, they use the metric system. That means...
Yeah, and the imperial system came from the imperial age, and that means it came from Great Britain, along with 13 colonies, into the United States. So in Britain, it's still used, but the rest of the world has no longer an imperial system. We use the metric system.
Covering distances in kilometers, weight in kilograms, and volume in liters. All of these things can be pretty confusing for Americans traveling in Europe and vice versa. But if you want to be a more worldly citizen, I'm talking to you Americans, you should try to learn the metric system. It's really helpful for travel. And it's also...
And I understand that if you do science or science, then you need to learn the metric system.
Also very simple and convenient, based on units of 10, making calculations and conversions much easier. Also, don't forget that in the US, we use Fahrenheit to tell weather.
It's minus 22 degrees. I can't feel my hands or my face.
Right now, it's about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but in Europe and the rest of the entire world, they use Celsius, or right now it's probably around 30 degrees. Luckily, I know both because I've been traveling the world for 12 years, so it's easier for me to have conversations with non-Americans about things like weather. But this is always something that confuses me about the US, and I think it's just because we like to be bigger and greater and different than everyone else in the world. In the US, coffee is consumed on the go, with people grabbing their morning cups from drive-through places.
Any kind of hot coffee.
Americano.
I'll have a latte.
They're just quickly running into Starbucks, ordering on the app, and running out. We also pretty much only consume coffee in disposable paper cups. In Europe, it's a whole different story.
So you always drink it while standing at the bar.
It's cheaper that way.
It's cheaper and more environmental responsible.
It's that bitter taste, just like goes through your veins. It's like one sip wakes you up. I'm serious.
This is like a perfect cappuccino with the foam top. Look at this.
First bite of a cappuccino has to be with a spoon. The coffee culture is alive and real here, but people take their time when they drink and they see it as more of like a social thing. Even if they're by themselves, they'll still go to the street corner, sit down at a cafe outside, of course, enjoying the beautiful day, and get a coffee, and they'll just sit there and either read or work. It's more of like an enjoyable leisure activity. They always have like coffee mugs. Of course, Europeans don't like waste with plastic and paper. They always just have everything feel more proper and more solidified. And it's all about the experience, of course.
Got the coffee, bringing it now to grandma.
When it comes to breakfast...
And also, there is no refill. You don't get a refill. If you want to have a second, then you have to pay a second.
In the US, everything is really heavy and greasy. Think about omelets, think about breakfast burritos, pancakes, hash browns, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. These are heavy, heavy, heavy items that make you really full and have a lot of calories.
All the flavors of cheese and beans and eggs and sauce on one plate.
In Europe, breakfast is nothing more than a little pastry.
Buttery, flaky, puffy pastry.
Depending on where you go.
Or a little cookie, or something sweet.
This is everything I want right now. Small.
Not for breakfast. I have a decent breakfast in the Netherlands and in Germany, and not even to talk about the British. We have a decent breakfast. The colder the area is, the higher you go up in Europe, the better the breakfast is.
Espresso and a chocolate croissant. It's so great.
It's so different. And it's funny, like here in Europe, all the breakfast places that you'll go to, like good breakfast places are like American branded. It'll be like American breakfast, American sausage, American scrambled eggs. The breakfast is one of the biggest differences that I find between Europe and the US. It's crazy different. In Europe,
it's different inside Europe, going from Northern Europe to Southern Europe, there's a huge difference in each country how they serve, what they serve for breakfast.
Europe, if it's not a croissant, it's just like a piece of fruit or a little bit of cheese or one slice of bread.
Soft and mushy, absolutely worth it.
I will say though that the bakeries in Europe are awesome. They're amazing. They actually bake bread fresh every day in most countries around Europe. So it smells good on the streets and you know that you're getting quality bread. It's not like processed, it's not like ordered on a big truck and shipped over. So I definitely side with Europe on this one. Although I got to admit, I do love Starbucks. Oh, this one really makes me feel ashamed to be American in Europe. Why are we so loud and obnoxious? Like, we have to like scream when we're coming out of the bars at night, and we have to like be picking fights in bars and be like, "No, America!" I really don't like this about American culture for whatever it is. I don't know why we always have to be the loud guys and the good guys. I think Brits and Aussies are kind of similar in this regard.
Yeah, the Brits in Europe can do the same. They are also very loud, yeah.
But when it comes to Europeans, they're much quieter. Like, there could be a lot of people out and about, but they're not like screaming and chanting. They're just like sitting, enjoying their beer, their wine, and just like hanging out. I like that culture.
Thank you. Dankeschön.
In general, Europeans are just more reserved. And when you're dining, people just don't talk that loud. They just keep to themselves. It's kind of nice. Social gatherings in America are loud and energetic. But in Europe, people are more respectful of other people's personal space. I also think the contrast in behavior can be seen in customer service, where American employees are typically more enthusiastic and outgoing, and they kind of won't stop talking to you. It's all that like fake conversation, like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, what are you up to today? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, we should hang out later. It's very American to be like fake in that regard. This really drives me crazy about Americans, and when I'm home, I feel really out of my element. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that, but like going to the grocery store, I don't need to like share my life story with the lady checking out. Like, just check out, you go on with your day, I go on with my day. I don't need to like tell you what my plans are later and how my work is going and all that. Like, Americans see this as being friendly, but for me, I just see it as pointless conversation that just doesn't need to happen.
Small talk.
Because you don't know that person. If you know them and they're in your friend group and circle, it's different. Europeans cut through all that bullshit. Especially staff at a restaurant or anywhere on the street interactions are a lot more formal and blunt, and it could be considered rude, but I don't know, I kind of like it.
Wait, look, the risotto with the meat risotto.
Another example is if you're on the train in Europe, people are just gonna sit and keep to themselves, kind of like in Asia. But in the US, people might be talking on the phone loudly or hanging out with their bros. And like, I guess for me, I prefer to be more on the quieter side. I don't like to be obnoxious in front of people. I think I get this trait from my mom, who doesn't want to be like the center of negative attention, which is a good thing. But it's definitely a stark difference between how Americans act in public and how Europeans act in public. And this,
we find the Americans, we can point out either American or Britain.
This is one of the biggest differences between Europe and the US that I see, and I definitely side with Europeans on this one. Of course, another disclaimer is not every European and every American is like this. I'm very much generalizing. Okay?
Yeah, okay, I get it.
Okay, but this is just what I see and what I've experienced from spending 2.5 years in Europe.
Irving inside, the layup. Oh, how did that go in?
Saving one of the best topics for last because I am a huge sports fan, athlete. I've played many sports and I love watching sports. It's a little bit different in America versus Europe. I will say that there are passionate fans respectively. But of course in Europe, it's all about football, or as we say it in the US, soccer. It's super popular here. The Euro Cup just happened.
Europe, yeah, most popular sport in Europe besides soccer. I need to think. I really need to think. Yeah. The most popular sport in Europe is soccer.
Fans are like crazy passionate about their country, about their inner leagues, about football or soccer, all around Europe and the whole world, really. In the US, it's primarily basketball, baseball, American football, emphasis on the American football because that sport is really only played in the US. And of course, like golf and tennis, but these are popular in both places.
Horton, hook 'em horns!
Sports that are common between the US and Europe are hockey, basketball, tennis, and golf. I think those 4 sports are really active and played among the average Joe in the countries and also for professionals. Europe also has regional sports like rugby and cricket, which you can find in certain regions, but not all over Europe. Here's a major difference though. In the US, college sports are huge. I went to the University of Wisconsin. We went to 3 Rose Bowls during my college years, which is American football. It's like a big event for those non-Americans out there. We also have really big hockey and we have really big basketball, and we go to March Madness every year. And like, I went to a lot of games as a kid. In fact, I chose Wisconsin because of the sports. That was one of the main reasons I wanted to go to a school with great sports. I'm a passionate sports fan. European sports are like dead. I don't even know if there are competitions of like European basketball or other teams. I actually don't think that exists.
They are everywhere. So not only soccer and baseball and cycling and ice skating. Look at the Olympic sports, the Olympics. A lot of Europeans are there too. So athletics.
And if it does exist, please let me know, because I've never heard about it. On big college campuses in the US.
But not on a campus. If he's referring to playing on a campus of while you're in university, no. There's no university league as it is in the United States.
We have massive games that are publicly televised to millions of people, and there's a lot of things happening around the stadiums. There's tailgating and pre-gaming, and all the restaurants and bars are busy near the stadiums, and it's like a cultural immersion thing when there's a game on a college campus. I will say though, the energy and excitement around any European football match is unparalleled to anything that we can find in the US. I haven't been to many, but I have seen them on TV, and I have many friends who have gone, and I know that the environments are crazy.
Like the Dutch army. You have to look up for those videos. Maybe I make one of my own. But the Dutch army for soccer, we go. Yeah, oh, we will. Maybe you will see them, because there will be World Championship soccer football in the United States, Canada, Mexico. Although I don't think that a lot of Europeans will go to the United States. But yeah, if you're lucky, you will see them.
In Europe, the football teams often have deep historical roots in their communities, which honestly creates a strong sense of identity and pride, because these teams have been around for hundreds of years. So it kind of makes sense. In the US, all the big sports are really like big businesses when you think about it, and that's why teams relocate and change names. It's all about the money. In any regard, the cultural importance is clear for sports, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Europe, and I find the way that it's expressed is really, really interesting. All right, and that wraps up the cultural differences between the USA and Europe. I hope you...
Yeah, that wraps it up for me too. It was a bit longer than I expected. It's almost 40-minute video, so I don't know how much this video will be, but I guess it will be near to an hour. So, yeah. Interesting. I hope I give you some extra info about my view on this part. And if you liked it, then like the video. If you want to see more, then subscribe. And we will see each other in the next video.